These next 6 months, I cannot stress this enough, are so important for our success, not just in crypto, guys. Get out of your head it's all about crypto. This is your financial freedom. You might have seen in a previous video I did like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I put in a little clip there of Dan Pena, a very well established entrepreneur, a very, let's just say, aggressive entrepreneur, but he was pretty much screaming at people saying, what would you tell your kids and your grandkids in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years about how you went about this, ultimately, this change of wealth, right? This migration from, people being stuck in a rut to now people being able to make wealth for many generations to come. How would you feel about squandering this opportunity? And it definitely, I saw in the comments, lit a fire on a lot of your asses. I'm not going to show that clip today. It's very, very, a lot of curse words were used, but I'm going to touch on why these next 6 months will allow you to do what he said, right? Allow you to create this generational wealth in this very pivotal time. Now, again, I'm going to show you some charts, but also I'm going to be that guy. I didn't want to do it this early in the market, but I'm going to be that guy and tell you why some of the things I predicted, a few months ago are coming to life now and how they will continue to play out over the next 2 years. Importantly, 6 months, guys. 6 months. If you're someone who is still in a massive crypto slumber, if the market hasn't woken you up just yet, seriously, you are really, really playing a dangerous game here. If you don't win this next 6 months, you're not going to win the bull run, which is the next 24 months. And then unfortunately, the next 24 months after that will create you generational wealth. I'll tell you why in a second here. And so you're honestly squandering what many people probably did back in 2008, back in the dot-com bubble, not taking advantage of situations that ultimately can, be the difference between you living the life you want and not ultimately, right? So let me get into it. Now, as you can see here, CoinCodex. Now, we're going to take what these websites say with a very big grain of salt because ultimately they don't know what's going to come, right? So, but it's good to see that a couple of these websites like CoinCodex are predicting a very bullish scenario for Bitcoin, right? These guys are averaging about $98,000 over here for Bitcoin. Yearly low is 77, yearly high is 177K. So suffice to say, CoinCodex is predicting 2025 to be a typical cycle, right? Bitcoin is going to explode. And I think that these numbers could definitely be blown way, way out of the water if this ETF is approved. Now, coincidentally enough, I'm making this video about 1.5 to 2 weeks early, and there's a very good reason why I'm making the courses that you guys want to know about and want to obviously, subscribe to. So this could most definitely change. I've heard rumors as of right now that the ETF might be approved or denied any day now. So we will see, and ultimately when you watch this video, you'll be able to tell me. But as you can see over here with Coinpedia, these guys are saying $61,000 for the low, $110,000 for the high, and $85,000 for the average price. Again, it's just literally a massive grain of salt. But again, they are playing the same scenario out. Now, there is also a bear scenario. Again, what did I just say? Well, if the SEC decides to deny the current applications for the Bitcoin ETF, it could also lead to a sell-off in the short term. Keyword there, short term, okay? And the reason is because, as I mentioned down here, right, investors may view this as a sign that the ETF will never be approved. This market, what I've been saying for a while now is, if you can consider, the different equity markets, right? You have the stock, bonds, you also have crypto as well. Well, the stock and the bond markets, they're very mature, right? They still react based on news because if there's positive or negative press, it does affect the price, right? Ronaldo, when he moved the Coke bottle away in a press conference, that dropped, Coke's, I think, stock price by like 10, 20% instantly, right? These things have an effect on the market, but crypto is notorious for being extremely immature, right? If there's a little bit of news comes out, everyone's panicky, everyone's fidgety. Why? Because it is a speculation market. No one knows if it's going to stay for the long term. No one expects it to stay for the long term. And investors are always on their toes, reactionary, right? Never informed, always reactionary. So it's important that we remember this as to what could possibly occur over the next 6 months. We might see some dips here, but again, do you want to take those chances? Now, I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this video, which is, again, these are the sheets I have been screaming at people and made over the last 2-3 months, all right? And so I want to just point something out to you. Again, I don't want to be that guy. I told you so, look what I said, da-da-da-da. That's so annoying to listen to. I'm not going to try to do that today. I do apologize if it naturally, instinctively comes out of me. But as you can see over here, what I said, many months ago now was this, right? That we would see typically based on the last 2 cycles, an occurrence of a, demand picking up, at least increase in volume 8 months before the halving and a noticeable uptick 14 months before the halving, right? And so if we fast forward here, well, 14 months before April's halving, Bitcoin's halving, was around February. Now, we didn't really notice too much. And again, this isn't going to look too good because, again, this is all skewed because of the bull run, right? Of course, that's why I've blanked it out, because this would be fractions smaller. You know, this would look like this does down here if we included all the massive volume in the bull run. But essentially, it hasn't occurred for us yet. So that's why it kind of looks a little bit funny over here. Suffice to say though, guys, what did I say? 8 months before the halving is when we'll notice an uptick. Now, 8 months before the halving is August 30th, roughly speaking, right? So what happened here? Well, ultimately, I was about a month and a half off, right? And I get it. It was a bit of an unpredictable thing, right? This whole Bitcoin ETF, BlackRock, State Street, so on and so forth. That did come out of the blue, all right? A bit out of left field here. But suffice to say, it's playing out. Whether it did or didn't happen, it still occurred, right? And so, again, we're noticing now around 6 months out from the halving, which is right now, we have a lot of demand picking up, all right? Volume has increased, as we've noticed. I think the market cap, the global market cap went up about 200 billion pretty well within a week. So it's definitely picking up here. And as you can see, I haven't changed a single thing from this exact diagram from the one I showed you guys many months ago. So what actually is Magpie XYZ? Well, it's an ecosystem of DeFi protocols providing yield and what's called VE tokenomics, or voted escrow tokenomics. We'll touch more on this in just a second, which boosts services across multiple blockchain networks. Now, specifically, Magpie itself was the first protocol built on the Magpie, or at least broader Magpie XYZ ecosystem. There are a few in the ecosystem now, designed to provide yield and VE tokenomics to the Wombat exchange, which was the exchange that actually incubated or launched Magpie XYZ. So if you come onto the website, guys, it's a DeFi protocol first, okay, or a series of protocols. Again, it will continue to add multiple different protocols within it. And the first one, as mentioned here, was the Magpie X Wombat exchange, which is an exchange built on the BNB network. So you can go in here, if you click into it, you can provide single staking, right? So you acquire the tokens itself, you port them over here to Magpie Exchange, and then what you can do is get the Magpie version of that, the wrapped version, and then stake that. And the benefit of staking that, and why you would even want to do this in the first place, is if you were someone on either of these platforms, right? In this case, we also have Pendle Finance. A lot of you will know Pendle. I actually just learnt about Pendle Finance, right? It is quite a large project, or at least a DeFi project over here, enabling the tokenization and trading of future yield. It's a $141 million market cap, which isn't too bad at all. And also Radiant Capital itself, a $70 million valuated project. And so what it does is essentially allow you to participate in the governance side of those networks. So you receive passively governance tokens to have more of a say in the direction of the network, but also you receive those tokens back as well as increased yield. That's the benefit that Magpie provides, is increased yield as well. So guys, thank you so much for Magpie for sponsoring this video. If you were interested, go down to the links down below and check them out. So what does this really mean? Well, again, the halving, historically speaking, has a very large uptick in volume, right? It like signs the alarms, right? It's just like the alarm bells ringing for the whole world saying, hey, crypto is about to have another large run. Everyone come back in. Well, the saying goes, right? If this happens now, 6 months before, you can only imagine what's going to occur in 6 to 12 months from now. And again, we got to think about buying altcoins. We don't want to be buying altcoins at higher prices. For example, I was buying some more HBAR yesterday. And what happened was, I told you guys, 5 cents for HBAR is a good level. Now, I was buying a substantial amount of HBAR. And suffice to say, I ended up buying, instead of 5 cents, and let's just say I could have got, 200,000 tokens, I was buying at 5.3 cents. And that, 0.3 cent increase, instead of getting 200,000 tokens, I got 187,000 tokens. Now, that's a big difference, right? Such a small little increase. And that's why I'm saying every single cent counts in this case. And if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of capital, that could really be the difference between an extra couple $100, a couple $1,000. You don't know, all right? So pay attention, and of course, expect something to happen. As they said over there on the Forbes website, right? The ETF could be denied. Now, I highly doubt that. BlackRock has the US government in the back of their pocket, undoubtedly here, undoubtedly. And when you consider it's managed by State Street, that's even more of a bullish scenario. But of course, being these market makers, they could, well, I shouldn't say market makers, but being who they are, right? Being able to move markets so easily, you don't know, there could be intentions to push the price lower before something's approved later on in the year. We don't know. So again, you will know before I make this video, before this video is released rather, on what actually happened in this case. But again, be well prepared. Even if it doesn't happen, anything could. And historically speaking, we do see between a 20 to 50% drop before these, before the halvings anyway. So it's definitely built into the system. So keep aware. Now, why is it so important for us to get this right? Again, 6 months from now, these next 6 months will be when you can accumulate likely for the last cheapest prices before we see an uptick. And as I mentioned over here, we have to factor in capital gains, right? If you're buying too late, you're going to get hit with capital gains. I'm expecting the cycle to top around 30th of October, 2025. So about 24 months from right now. And if you sell your tokens within a 12-month holding period, you get hit with increased tax. It's in it. I've worked it out in a video before. It is substantial, right? And so it's important we capitalize because the events that are going to occur post 2025, namely 2026 to 2028, are going to, and again, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying I'm looking through a crystal ball, but I am almost 100% confident here are going to be a massive crash that is going to screw any of you hodlers, any of you diamond hands freaks who thinks it's a good thing to hold for 2030 for the long term, right? You are going to miss out on so much, not even life-changing. I'm talking about generational wealth here. Some events include, number one, crypto-specific crash brought on by global frameworks for crypto, right? A global framework for crypto that is possibly negative for the space. Even if it is positive for the long term, the short term, we will likely see a dip. We probably won't see positive reaction in the market because everyone will naturally be scared that, hey, you have these frameworks, is my favorite altcoin going to be classified as X or Y? We don't know, okay? And so right now, of course, we're teetering on whether it's a security or a commodity, at least for, again, the US markets, which we have to look at because they kind of dictate what happens globally. But we see over here in Europe, right, they've brought out some sort of framework with MiCA. And I think that the way forward is going to be creating a bespoke agency plus framework, right? And they are working on this over in the US. There's a bipartisan agreement that's come out where they're working on some sort of framework / law, okay? That's great. That's all good news. But in the interim, again, anything could happen. And when that does occur, be well prepared. So this is, again, post 2025. Definitely could come before. I'm not expecting to come before, though. Most definitely, I feel like after. Again, this will create a good buying opportunity. But event 2 is way, way, way worse, guys. And again, we capitalize in 2024, take our money out. I've shown us on many videos before how easy it is to compound, then into especially event 2, which is where I think it's going to really kill crypto, right? Which is the world economy literally shitting its guts out. This is as simple as I can put it, right? I want to show you two guys in a second here that are the basis of where I get this information from, right? Jason Pizzinio and also Philip J. Anderson. Now, Philip is the real mastermind behind this. He follows the 18.5-year real estate cycle in the US, and it literally happens like as if you know tomorrow's coming for sure. It is incredible how frequent this cycle occurs, and you have to be damn sure. This is what brought on the 2008 GFC. It was this cycle, all right? And he predicted this. He accurately predicted it, right? So, an economic downturn similar or worse than the 2008 GFC, at least that's what these guys are predicting, and I would agree with them, okay? Many crypto bros will be out here saying, in the comments even, oh, this won't happen, bro, and if it does, the money will flow into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a decentralized, secure asset, right? It's digital gold. It's not going to happen. It won't happen. We aren't mature enough for any money to come into crypto from an event that would cause people to ultimately live a very difficult life from that point on, okay? And so it's, again, not just in crypto we want to take advantage of this, right? We don't want to be reinvesting in altcoins here. We want to be reinvesting into real estate, guys, and also the stocks, right? We want to reinvest into actual, very traditional markets here because this is going to allow us to be financially free. Yes, have some money for crypto. If you make $2 million, and I get it, that's probably a lot for most people. Let's just maybe keep it a little bit simple here. Let's say you make $200,000 over here in 2025, right? Now, and you cash out completely. Don't hold any crypto. At least that's my non-financial advice. And you buy back down on any of these points here. Again, not just crypto specific, but it could also be globally. That $200,000 might allow you to buy so much more. You might be able to buy assets at 50% discount, 60% discount. not crypto assets, equity assets, right? Real assets on the stock market, okay? That will obviously continue to go up in price. Coca-Cola, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, so on and so forth. So I personally am looking to buy real estate. I'm planning to extract a lot more than 200K from the market, all right? But nevertheless, it's a very important thing to remember this, right? And of course, event 3 is CBDCs, the piece of resistance, if you will, for crypto. In my opinion, this is going to be a way in which it could definitely cull all of the sort of nefarious aspects of crypto, and only the best will survive, which is why I am frequently here telling you guys it's very important at any assets you invest back into crypto in this 2026 to 2028 fiasco, you must be buying ones that are actually businesses. Just like Apple, just like Coca-Cola, these are real businesses, tangible businesses you can see are making real differences. That's why I always preach about Hedera, Quant, so on and so forth, because they are real businesses, right, in effect. So with that said, this is why it's important. You see why the next 6 months are going to help you grow to 2025 to make a difference then, to cash out, to then really make this generational wealth in the next bear cycle. So for those of you scratching your heads thinking, Kyle, where do I start? How do I do this? Again, all these 3 things, these 4 extracts I'm giving you today are things I specifically talk about on my videos. I didn't do any extra fiddling around with these like I normally do. I wanted to make a very apparent point that this is how you do it, okay? Now, you find it like this. Crypto is a speculation market, and it will be in 2025, right? We see over here, I'm predicting we're going to have some more enterprise adoption, especially if this ETF is approved, right? But most of it's still retail. So we have to factor in that retail equals degens. This is how we beat the degen, right? This is how we follow the degen money and be ahead of it. This particular structure. Narrative, mean, popularity, supply, team. That's all you need to know. All right. And that's entries and exits. How do you know when to exit? Right? Crypto's a fiasco, as I said. Like, when do you exit your altcoin? Well, again, I touch on it here, and it's very important to know. Guys, altcoins don't all pop off at the same time. They don't follow Bitcoin. If you were someone that, for example, last cycle, this is last cycle, right? And you bought XRP, and you were like, oh, Bitcoin's gonna go to X price, 100K, 69K, whatever it was. And you're waiting for a large moment, listening to influencers, right? You would have missed the actual peak of XRP and probably sold down here, right? A substantial difference. Matter of fact, you probably would have thought, hey, XRP should be going up even more in price. You probably would be still holding your tokens from that point, right? And this doesn't go for just payment narratives. This goes for every single narrative. Look at gaming. Gaming popped off after Bitcoin. So you got to keep tabs on it, guys. Very, very important here. And that's one of the reasons why I talk about all that sort of stuff. So I mentioned before Jason. Of course, you guys should know Jason. He's, again, studied the past, forecast the future. He follows the man, the myth, the legend, the GOAT himself, the guy who follows property, commodity cycles. He is the guy that I push the book of all the time, The Secret Life of Real Estate and Banking, which I'm reading right now, that tells you about this 18.5-year cycle. And if you guys want to go ahead and pick it up. I'm getting no kickbacks for it, of course. And if you follow Philip J. Anderson, trust me right now, you're going to be much more educated on the topic. And as I said, the next bear market's going to be one to go down in the history books to hopefully then give us the most amount of returns. So look, that's all I want to say in this video, guys. Again, very, very important. The next 6 months are life-changing. Have some capital on the side, 20% of whatever you put in, ready for a sort of black swan event. Worst case, that money can be used, for a dip, and dips will come. So that being said, thank you so much. Talk to you all soon. Take care.